This episode of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.
Hey, what's happening? This is TC Carson, and you are listening to A.C.M.G's Talk Time Live. And this is Kratos. Keep listening.
Welcome to the show that gives you all the news, views, and opinions in the world of gaming. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extras Select Start with your host, A.C.M.G. Power up and game on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extra Select Start. I am your host, Xavier Josiah. Folks, this is it. This is E3 weekend. I can't tell you how hyped I am this week and how excited I am. I was very interested coming in, wondering how the hell are they going to survive without Sony. I got to say, overall, I think they may have been okay. They've been okay. I don't think this is the best year by any stretch of E3 that they did before and what we were able to review last few years of this. But I can definitely say this was pretty interesting, pretty intriguing. Some things to talk about, a lot of things to talk about. Of course, it's E3. It's always something to talk about. But the question was, could they survive without Sony? We're going to find out as we run down all of what has happened, or at least the highlights of what have happened. Every year we do this podcast, it's always a long list of things to talk about. And I will try my best to run it down as quickly as possible because it is so much. It is so much, but there are things that we need to definitely talk about. Absolutely need to talk about in this. And I got to say, I really enjoyed it. There were some things to be excited about. Some things left me like, okay, what the hell? And then, some things is like, it's left questions for what's next to come. So, unfortunately, I wanted to get Chris Milicinas on here. If you guys remember, if you guys have been listening since last year, Chris Milicinas is the curator for the Smithsonian Museum's Art of Video Games that was way back in 2012. He also wrote a book called The Art of Video Games, From Pac-Man to Mass Effects. I tried to reach out to him, but lo and behold, he's been missing in action on social media and all over the place, and nobody has been able to find him. So I hope everything's okay on that note, and maybe we could get him down on the show sometime down the line, but he'll be dearly missed. So I'm going to go solo on this one, which is fine, because there's, like I said, there's a lot to talk about here, and it's some amazing things. And let's start with, I won't even recap Google Stadia, because the funny thing about that, there was no real big hype or mention about Google Stadia and its streaming evilness going on right there. So we're going to skip that because we already spoke about that on the last episode of Talk Time Live, the Prime Show. And what else is there to be said? It's just, and I can tell you this, one of the actual answers that I had based on the discussion that I was talking about last week has been answered here, and it's not good in the world of this of Stadia. I know there's going to be some people that are going to jump in on this, but the overall situation is how is this thing going to last? I really think this is going to get the Zune to work, but I digress. Let's go into some other conferences for that time. Let's start with the EA Play live stream. I'm going to just run down the list of things. They premiered Battlefield 5. Of course, it's EA, Madden NFL 20, FIFA 20, their norms. They also mentioned Anthem, and which a member of BioWare came out to address that they're working on and improving the problems and issues that they had, that players had on the game. I've heard a lot of things about this game, and unfortunately, have been negative as far as some of the issues in here. And I remember I talked about this last time. I was going to actually jump into beta or jump into test to see how this is. It was hard to even get into the beta. It was hard to log in and get into the account, and it should have been a much easier process from the start. And that to me was a red flag. And I was like, I'm pretty much done with EA. in this case, or EA anything. I am just done. It's rather, if it's not the microtransaction controversy, it's something else. I'm just done with them at this point. I can't deal with, EA's deal. So I'm glad I'm not the only one that discovered this or understood this. Other players have had these issues as well. And to their credit, to BioWare, well, more probably BioWare to EA, but to the credit of the developers, they are addressing it. It's the elephant in the room. They got to do it. So, and I mean, they don't have to do it because there are other companies that have not really addressed those issues before of a game that has come out in 2K games. And I commend any of these guys to own up to it and try to improve it. That's all you got to do. The fans will accept you better. I've said this many times. The fans will accept you much better if you actually own up to your mistakes. If you own up to what you did was wrong. Not just video games, just everything. You will get people to accept you a lot better if you own up to it and still have a fan base in between. Don't brush everything under the rug. That's like the dumbest thing to ever do. In any aspect or facet. You just do not sweep things under the rug. It's just never a good thing. It always ends up piling up and coming back at you. So that was that. And then the Sims 4 they talked about and showed as well. So that was it with EA Play. This was one of the this wasn't one of the main presentations, but they always do it for their fan base every year. But what was the big one was Microsoft to kick it off. Microsoft always kicks it off, and the question for this is, could they in fact actually win E3 this year? Well, let's first run down what they were talking about, and I'll also be talking about crowd reaction too, and that's a big deal because the fans that are there, if they are actual fans and not staff sitting in the crowd, which I started realizing that some of them were based on certain situations. My critical thinking hat was in there, and I was like, some things were just a little bit skeptical. I can tell you can almost tell when sometimes some of them are actual staff that's sitting in the crowd to cheer, to cheerlead, and when it's actual fans, and in all these presentations. So, let's talk about this. I believe they had an actual legit crowd, more fans than staff at this event. So, Microsoft, they started off with I won't say they started off with, this is the end one, but I want to talk about this first. Project Scarlet, which they did show a review at the very end, and they said that it was going to be launching, hopefully, holiday 2020. Now, here's the situation, and I mentioned this before, when it comes to release dates, which is becoming the most important aspect of a presentation and an announcement, release dates is always a big thing, because that now fans are aware that if they have a set release date, that most likely means that you are closer to actually getting it done, and you're at a part where you're very confident that this product or this game is going to get completed and ready to go, or go gold, as they say. And when they say just the year, in some part of the year, spring, fourth quarter, whatever, there is a chance that it'll be out that time, but there's also a chance that it will not. So when you say holiday 2020, it could be, that's saying November-ish or December-ish, but around that time, so it's not really saying. So it's a possibility it could be pushed back. It could absolutely be pushed back. So we will see how that goes, but they were talking about, what went into it. Some people were a little bit skeptical about the video because of some of the things that were said. But what this, without a doubt, did is that this left a mark for the beginning of a new era in gaming. What new era will it be? I don't know. How much farther graphically can they get? I don't know what they're going to be offering this one, and it's going to be interesting how much they're going to be offering for it. We will see. It's just, I tell you what, the thing that and I think Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo will need to do, because now all these stupid streaming networks are coming out with these stupid monthly fees. If they're smart, especially Xbox because of their past history, if they're smart, they should not raise the price of these systems. I know they have to get something back, but I think sometimes they overshot or overshoot their price range as to what they're going to, charge people. But they're going up against a new form of gaming now, and that's streaming. And that's with the use of online, which to me, again, I can't speak for other countries, but I can speak for the U.S. We're not built for that. We're not built for that. I mean, server goes down, it all goes down. We're not gaming. We need some form of offline ability. And to rely fully on online is foolish to me. I don't understand. Like, I've still had problems with online for console games, and some of them do crash at times. That's the reality. Who's to say that it's not going to crash on Stadia or any of these other, like, PlayStation Nows or whatever? I can't rely on them. Again, my whole reliability of playing a game is based on online. No. I'm so not confident in that right now. We're not at the state. We would never in that state. There are other countries that are built better than I remember. President Obama actually, went to different parts of the world and discovered that there's some way stronger bandwidths than what we have right now, which is astounding. And of course that was years ago. So I know we've gotten a little better now with things, but not nearly to the point that I think that we can go fully online. Nor should we, because we need to own our own content. Bar none. I'm not renting content. I just refuse. So, I do believe that that's the thing. And that's the thing that we need to do for consoles. I still am a firm believer of consoles and hardware use. I love it. I just think that's the road that we should continue until we find a better way. I love downloadables. So I think the storage aspect is a great thing as well. So I say that we stick to that until further notice at best. The one thing they also did do at the end is announce that a new Halo game will be out, and that's Halo Infinite, as the first game that will be on a new system, which a lot of people in the crowd was really excited for. They got a pretty good crowd reaction from that. Not the biggest crowd reaction of the conference. That will come to the next game that I want to mention, and that is Cyberpunk 2077. A huge announcement that this was. Now, if you guys remember last year, they announced that they were going. The funny thing is, they announced this last year, saying that they were going to have this game come out. Lo and behold, I had no idea. Forgive me. I had no idea. I thought this was an exclusive to Xbox, and they made it seem like this was an exclusive to Xbox. I've never seen this advertised on PlayStation, but lo and behold, this is not a third-party game. I mean, this is not an exclusive game for Xbox, which really hurts when the fact that they had this huge announcement that Keanu Reeves is going to be in the game, which led to him appearing on stage to talk about his involvement in the game. This also came with a huge roar of the crowd. The crowd went insanely crazy over this, and rightfully so. It was awesome. The trailer actually showed a really cool, cinematic cutscene of a character named Dax. Yay. That, of course, he's a bad guy, unfortunately, and I don't think he lasts long. And, it led to the lead characters, getting to a situation of a robbery or something like that, if I remember correctly. And lo and behold, his partner dies. He ends up in a situation where he's about to go out, and lo and behold, this new character comes in, and he comes down where the camera can see it, and lo and behold, it's Keanu Reeves. Crowd goes ape shit crazy. And furthermore, from that point, he comes out, he talks about it. Like, this is the most exciting news that out there right now. Still, the game looks fantastic, and seeing a 3D rendered version of Keanu Reeves was just mind-blowing. It's just absolutely fantastic. Now, this news was so huge that I watched TMZ a lot, as you guys may know. I love that show to death. It was so big that they do announce some things every once in a while. I even mention wrestling from time to time, which is still crazy to me. But this game was so big that they mentioned it. It was a segment on TMZ, and that says a lot. It was the only thing that was mentioned about E3 on TMZ, and TMZ gets an insanely amount of viewers and ratings So, to see that and E3 get that much exposure and Keanu Reeves get that much exposure and the game gets so much exposure, that's huge. That is insanely huge. This is off the cuffs of like his success in John Wick and his appearance on the Netflix movie Always Be My Maybe, which if you guys have not seen that movie, you got to go out of your way to see that movie for two reasons. He's one of them, and the song, the rap song that is sung about how I punch Keanu Reeves, it is awesome. I gotta find that. I hope that's on iTunes or something, but it's awesome. Go out of your way to check that out if you have a Netflix subscription. It's a very sweet rom-com, and I'm not used to watching rom-coms like that, but this one was so intriguing that there are two actors, main actors that I love, and he's in it. So he's on a roll, man. He is absolutely on a roll, but this game will be on the PlayStation and Xbox, and I believe PC as well, so everybody will be able to enjoy this game. I think this game, this is a first-person brawler or action game, so not a shooter, but an action game. So I'm actually interested in this because I'm not really a fan of shooters. I'm not really a fan of FPS at all, but in FPA, I don't know, that might actually turn me around to some sense. So I'll keep my eye on that for now. But that was, at the time, by far the biggest news and the most excitement I've seen a crowd react to a game that was announced so far. Gears 5 was also announced coming September 10th, 2019, with the addition and announcement that the Terminator will be in the game as a playable character. That's pretty cool. Crowd was great to that. Not as great as Cyberpunk 2077, but it was also great. There will also be an arcade mode and a horde mode along with this as well. Then they also talked about the Xbox Game Pass with yet another subscription service. $9.99 a month to play over 100 games. There is an account for Xbox One owners and PC owners. So if you own a PC but you don't own an Xbox, you can also subscribe to this as well. Now, that actually is not bad, because if you don't have that but you want to play these games, and PC is more powerful than any console out there. And if you have a more powerful enough console to play that with a great graphics card and RAM, yada, 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 that's awesome. And you can play that as well. So I give them credit for that. $14.99 is the Ultimate Game Pass, which includes a Game Pass for consoles, Xbox Live Gold, and the Xbox Game Pass for PC. Now, this is a monthly fee. This is not a one-time fee, so you do consider, before you get this, do the math. Is this worth it? Just do the math on there. Microsoft offered a first-time subscription for people the day of the announcement for $1 to start off the money drain. So there it is for there. The one really cool aspect of this was they announced that a new Xbox Elite controller has been announced with tons of new upgrades and up to 40 hours of play per charge. Pre-orders are now available for $180. I actually think that this is a great investment. Say what you will, $180 is a lot of money, but this is a heavy-duty, customizable controller. As a person, if I own an Xbox, and I don't mind the Xbox controller, but I do mind where some of the controls are, the analog sticks or whatever, but I have a controller that I can customize the way I want to and do some really cool things that I want to, and different additions. I can't be mad at this with the price, because there's a lot that go into it. There's a version for the PlayStation I just saw on the latest Game Informer magazine that I just saw too, that it's actually pretty cool, and I would recommend people to go if you want it for the PlayStation as well. I forgot the name of it. I'll bring it up next week, or even no Sunday, who knows, when I talk about this as well. So they have that. The games that they were mentioning was Elder Rings, which is a new game from Software, and Game of Thrones creator George R.R. Martin. So that's a really interesting game that I think people, Game of Thrones fans are going to be interested in. It's just the fact that George R.R. Martin's name on it alone may actually spark a lot of interest in this game. Then you got Ori and the Will of the Wisp coming February 2020. A stunningly gorgeous looking 3D side scroller, absolutely beautiful looking. So that's coming out February 2020. So that actually is not bad. It's better than saying spring. or fall or summer of 2020, because this is always, you never know. So it looks like the fact that they said February 2020 means that there's actually closer to a release date, but they don't know when, but within that realm. So that's actually a positive right there. Then you have Star Wars Jedi, which has already been shown before E3, but they gave a little bit more gameplay with it. It plays a lot like The Force Unleashed to me, with a bit of the old God of War style. So I am digging that. What I'm really digging also is the return of Forrest Whitaker, reprising his role as the character in a few of the Star Wars movies. So I'm a huge fan of Forrest Whitaker. So like, even if a movie is bad and he's in it, he's not bad in the movie, because he's that damn good. I've been watching him. First time I saw him was in an episode of Different Strokes. And for some reason I drew into his acting ability way back then, and I just kept following this dude since then. I've been a huge fan of him, man. He's awesome. Ghost Dog, go out of your way to check it out. Just awesome. Borderlands 3 trailer announced, and with a release date of September 13. Bleeding Edge, a crazy and beautiful PvP brawler from Ninja Theory, coming June 27th. That game looks like a lot of fun, and I'm of course a big fan of Ninja Theory. So I have, of course, for a lot of reasons, and that we will be talking about very soon. So I am very much excited about what they're going to do with that. So that's cool. Minecraft Dungeons coming spring 2020, and it's also coming on all major systems. That means also the Switch and PlayStation 4 as well. A huge announcement came shortly after, as Phil Spencer came out and I believe announced that Microsoft has acquired Double Fine, of all people. So, which I believe the co-owner of Double Fine is Jack Black as well. So, they announced also that Psychonauts 2 will be coming exclusively to the Xbox, so that's awesome. That's pretty damn good. Battletoads, we finally get a visual of what this looks like, because they had promoted this last year, but they didn't have anything on it. They just said it's going to be an Xbox exclusive. We finally get to see it, and after seeing it, they can have it, because there's no release date for it. 2, it looks okay, but the animation looks like something off of Adobe Flash animation, which I always hate video games that looks like that, because it looks really cheap. Like, even if the character design looks great, the movement and such, the lack of frames, it just doesn't look right. So to me, it just looks like a Adobe Flash animation to me. I don't even know if they still do Adobe Flash animations anymore. I know I don't. I stopped doing them ages ago. Character design looks a bit too contemporary for me as well. It looks like the recent Turtles from Nickelodeon, which I also don't like the character design on that. I hate these simplistic, contemporary type of, character designs that they're doing now, especially with the Turtles, because if you do the timeline of since day one of the Saturday morning cartoon version of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their animation and character design look great to really good to okay to, and it just gets worse and worse as you get close to it. I don't know what they're doing and why they're not doing it, but it burns me up. So, and take notice here when it comes to Microsoft, their presentation, they're getting a lot of announcements and world premieres here, because there's no Sony to do it there as well, so they're getting all the the grabs here. So I just need people to understand that, like, when these guys are getting all these world premieres, a world premiere is not, and I repeat, is not an exclusive. They did not say exclusive, they say world premiere. That means these games are coming out and they're able to announce it on the Xbox, and that it's going to be on the Xbox, but definitely know that it's going to be out on other systems as well, including Dragon Ball Kakarot, which is finally revealed. It was Project Z at the time that Bandai Namco was coming out with, but now we know it's called Dragon Ball Kakarot, which is revealed to be a camera pan behind the back style action RPG with a hint of Xenoverse and Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm in it. So this is going to chronicle Goku's life going from the very first Dragon Ball. I don't believe the first Dragon Ball. But it's going to start from Dragon Ball Z and go all the way to the Buu Saga, I guess, from there. So it's going to have a lot of fundamentals of that, and a lot of if you watch a lot of the show, the actual series, you know what to expect from there. There will be some mini games. There will be some side scroll missions. I thought when I watched this, I thought the same thing, and then the guy from IGN, which I was watching, also said the same thing too. I hope that they do the driver's test side mission, because that will be so awesome. That was one. That may be, if not the best filler episodes ever in Dragon Ball history. Well, up until Dragon Ball Super, because Dragon Ball Super has some really great filler episodes, but filler episodes doesn't really get too much of a nod, but that episode everybody loves, when Goku and Piccolo go get a driver's test, and it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. So we will see more of this as time goes by. I just hope that they are very successful with this. The guys behind Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm will be working on this. I think they're called Cyber Connect, if I'm correct, but they're the guys responsible for it. So that's actually that brings me more confidence, because if you've played any of the Ultimate Ninja Storm games, there are without a doubt some of the best games that Bandai Namco has as far as anime licensed video games. So I am looking forward to that. We'll be looking more into that, see what happens from there. A really intriguing game came up in the form of a game called 12 Minutes. It's a top-down murder mystery that is stuck in a time loop, and it is up to you to solve what happened in this murder. And it's really, really good. It's so intriguing. I don't know if this is an exclusive for Xbox. I hope it's not. I hope it eventually goes to other systems. But I was, and I'm normally like a fighting game fan or something like that. This one right here, it drew me in. It's so different. It was so, very abstract in a sense of just how it was put together. I've never seen a game like it before, and the plot and how everything is put together, and what you're going to have to do in order to make it happen. I love it. I love it. It's like almost a Pandora's box style of gaming. And you're going to have to find ways to open the secret to what is going on in that game. So, other games that were mentioned, including Phantasy Star Online 2 coming spring 2020, The Outer Worlds coming October 25th, Blair Witch coming August 30th, Spirit Fair, not yet announced, RPG Time in 2020, Microsoft Flight Simulator. No, I don't believe I heard a release date for that. Age of Empire 2 Definitive Edition coming in the fall. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga coming 2020. Way of the Woods also coming with no release date announced yet. Dying Light 2 coming spring 2020. You heard what I said about that. Forza Horizon 4. Lego Speed Champion. I gotta admit, I'm not a fan of Forza. Not to say that I'm a fan of Forza. Not to say that I'm a fan of Forza, but at the same time, I'm racing games are just so boring at times. It's like it's only racing games. You can't do but so much in a racing game. But adding Legos to it is kind of cute. I will give it that. But I do gotta say, it was announced that Asphalt 5 or 6 is coming out, and I am excited about it. That's the only racing game I like, because you're actually purposely crashing into cars to knock them out of the loop just to win. So that I need racing games like that with a different gimmick or kick to it, stuff like that. Gears Pop, another Gears of War game, but it's just like a Clash of Clans style game using pop versions of the Gears characters, which is cute. It seems cute. I like it. State of Decay 2 expansion available now. Crossfire X coming to 2020. Tales of Arise, the newest Tales series, is coming to from Bandai Namco, is coming 2020. Project X Cloud, which this is very interesting, another project that Xbox is doing that will turn your Xbox into its own server. I actually like that concept. I think that's pretty cool. So there you have it. That is the Microsoft conference. Overall, I think they did fairly good. I believe that I gave them a B- because the crowd wasn't into a lot of the things that they were doing, except for maybe Gears, Halo. But the biggest pop that they got was without a doubt, was Cyberpunk. The hugest, the most response that they got was from Cyberpunk 2077. Had this been an exclusive game for Xbox, it would have stayed with a B or even a B minus. But because that is not a exclusive to me, and it didn't get, none of their other exclusive games or their AAA games got the same reaction as Cyberpunk with the crowd reaction and such and anticipation and what everybody's talking about online. Everybody was talking about a game that's not an exclusive to Xbox from this conference. That's not really good. So I am sticking with a C plus with Xbox this year. That to me just it didn't do enough, and the fact that they did announce that they had a Halo game, but nothing's really come out of it yet. But the announcement was great. It's still it really. A lot of the games that they were talking about weren't exclusive games, and they were just world premiere games with release dates. So a lot of it's just like, all right, we're getting these games, but none of our powerhouse games are coming with release dates or anything. So that pretty much doesn't play a factor as well. So then we have Bethesda. Todd Howard owns up to the problems with Fallout 76, another game that was highly anticipated when it was announced last year or a couple years. Yeah, it was last year. And it didn't meet expectations. But they did announce that human NPCs will be coming back to Fallout 76. I guess I haven't played Fallout at all. I'm not a big Fallout fan, but I have heard many disdained issues and comments on social media about that. So hopefully that will help it. Hopefully they will get through. But again, kudos to the team from Bethesda for announcing that and addressing that and owning up to it, because I think that they're realizing that it's not a good idea to really sweep it under the rug, as I mentioned before, 2K games. So that's it. Another game, really interesting game called Deathloop, a new game that showed two characters of color, believed to be African American, one named Colt, the other one named Julianne, in an apocalyptic displaced time anomaly that I guess keeps relooping again. And the only way, pretty much they're both stuck in it, they believe that the only way to get out of this loop is to kill each other. So I don't know if it's going to result in that, but it looks very interesting. I'm interested in seeing more from this game. No release date announced as of yet, and not only that, it was just the trailer, which didn't show any gameplay footage or anything, or it was just a more or less a CGI, trailer, if you will. So you got that. We don't know if it's a first person, third person, or whatever from this point. Doom Eternal Battle Mode coming to all major platforms on November 22nd, 2019. Ghostwire by Tango Gameworks. No release date announced from that. Wolfenstein Youngblood, also, I didn't hear any release date from that as well. So that was the short announcement that they made from there. I guess it was okay. Nothing really big from going on from there. So that's probably like a D presentation right there. PC gaming also. I didn't get a chance to see the PC gaming, but I just gathered the notes from there. Vampire Bloodlines 2. I did see that trailer coming early 2020. Chivalry 2 also saw that trailer. First person Melee, which again, I keep bringing on these different versions. I want to see a first person fighting game. Plain and simple. There was only one that was created ages ago by 3DO. Never seen anything like that since. But that Chivalry 2 is coming out in 2020. Midnight Ghost Hunt, it looks like a lifelike version of Luigi's Mansion. That hasn't been announced for any release date. Age of Wonders Planet Fall is a real-time strategy game coming August 6th. Hey, that's my anniversary. Hey. I wish I was a PC gamer then. It's my wedding anniversary. Remnant from the Ashes coming August 20th, 2019. Planet Zoo coming November 5th. Shenmue, biggest announcement I think of this whole entire thing, coming November 19th to PC and the PlayStation 4. Damn it, I'm going to get Landy. This better be about getting Landy because he needs his comeuppance. So that's finally coming. It looks actually pretty damn good. I am looking forward to playing that game again. I haven't even played the other two. That's an open world game. I need to take time to revisit right there. Both 1 and 2. I've played both of them. They're great. Absolutely great for its time. And a game changer, a really good game changer to all these open world or city platformers anyway. Borderlands 3 is announced to be on the PC as well as Baldur's Gate. So there you have it for PC. Ubisoft is always a special one. I swear to goodness, I think the lack of Aisha Tyler for the Ubisoft events, I think it's kind of diluted this event. Aisha Tyler would always be so awesome, no matter how cringeworthy certain things were or whatever like that. She's a true-to-life gamer. I don't know why she decided to stop or they stopped working with each other, but I wish they would find a way to bring her back in. I hope she stopped being a gamer or whatever, but she was awesome. But they don't have it, so it's just But Watchdog Legions, which is set in London, coming in 2020. Shout out to my good friend Michael Burhan in the UK. He thought this was kind of wanky, if you will. God and Monsters, they also announced Ghost Recon Breakpoint. This was a huge one because like Cyberpunk 2077 that announced Keanu Reeves, this one also announced the appearance and starring the Punisher himself, John Bernthal, who actually also came out with a very gorgeous, beautiful looking pit that was just nicely sitting on the stage, no leash, and I love that. He sat on it. I loved it. He sat on the stage with the dog, and the dog was just chilling on stage. A very well trained dog there. I gotta shout this out. These idiots on the Game Informer. Game Informer had a strategy of having commentators talking and having a screen up on their screens while these presentations with action. I can't tell you how annoyed people were online and how annoyed I was watching it, them talking about it. And I watched the version where they did the Ghost Recon point with John Bernthal in the pit that was sitting on stage. Guys, if you don't understand, I'm a former pit, parent, if you will, and I learned myself. I had the same stigma back in the day as well, but until I met my wife, and before then my neighbor at the time, now my wife, and she brought in our, pup Griffin, who was only a pup at the time. He grew up and he was nurtured properly. They are only as vicious as you make them. And just as any child is as dangerous as you make them from nurturing. And just listening to these idiots online talk about like, why isn't this dog on the leash? He's gonna. No, I'm like, this dog is totally innocent. He's totally, well mannered. He's fine. You stupid, dumb geeks. So, yeah, that was that. But I mean, I'm not a Ghost Recon fan, but John Bernthal will up the ante on any game. This dude is awesome. You guys know him from Dale on the Walking Dead, but I love him even more as the Punisher. He is Frank Castle. So he's convincing on any aspect of this. I'm looking forward to seeing all of the cutscenes from the game because I probably won't be playing it. What I am interested in, and I pray that this just expands further into more games, because this may be the new Rocket League, and that is Roller Champions. A hybrid futuristic roller derby game available now on PC, but not announced for anywhere else. This is very similar to Rocket League and will most likely, I think down the line is going to go into all platforms. I saw this game. It is so awesome. I can't describe it. It's just like, I love wacky sports games. I've talked about this before, where it's just like it expands the disbelief a little bit more and suspends you. I love this game. I love everything about this game, and I would love to play this game, but I don't want to play it on PC. So I'm looking forward to seeing it on other platforms, and I think it will soon. The Division is now free to play. What is today's date? Oh, today. It is actually free to play today. As you listen to it, this is the 13th. If you haven't played a Division 2, you have until June 13th to the 16th to play it, which means if you've never played it, wanted to play it, and wanted to beat it, you have 3 days to completely binge on this game and do it. So jump on it, people. Rainbow Six Quarantine, which is yet another zombie shooter or FPS coming soon. Uplay. Got a moment of silence for a minute. Uplay is yet another streaming network. Not only is it a streaming network, but it's a streaming network within a streaming network. Yes, fans, you now have the ability of playing Uplay, which is all of Ubisoft's games in library within the Google Stadia. Now, if you guys recall, one of the questions that I asked when I talked about this on the other podcast was, in fact, whether the Stadia would allow you to have that monthly fee. Remember, I told you, you're going to be spending, in the next 5 years, you're going to be spending up to $600. It's not including the $129 fee for the Google Chrome Ultra, as well as the controller and the subscription fee or whatever like that. You know, that all of that's combined is going to be like $720 roughly. That's not including taxes or whatever. So you're going to be paying that. Now the question is, are you going to be able to play a stream of games at the ready? Well, the answer is freaking no, because now they got a $14.99 month added to the monthly fee that you're going to be paying for Stadia. I'm out. I am out. There's not enough Ubisoft games in the world that is going to make me pay that much. Do the math, people. Do the math. Own your game. Don't rent it. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry, Gamefly. I'm just sorry. No. It's just, I'm so against it. So that is that with Ubisoft right there. And by the way, the crowd was not trying to hear it. You got zero reaction. The crowd was dead to that noise at that event. And in fact, this was one of those events, aside from the Ghost Recon announcement, which was probably the biggest pop that they got and the biggest crowd reaction that they got from there. Everything else was like, on this one. So this one also, unfortunately, it gets you know what? I give it a C- only for the fact that John Bernthal, is going to be in Ghost Recon, and he came out and did the presentation. So that got a really cool crowd reaction there. But everything else, especially at the end when they talked about that Uplay, I can't see it. Listeners, I don't want to insult you, but are you anyway that stupid? Are any of you that stupid to really pay that amount of money? I don't care if you're rich or not. Rich people are rich because they're frugal. And they keep their money and they don't spend their money frivolously. Not all, the rich people that with longevity, let's put it like that. They don't spend their money frivolously and end up in a documentary about why they spent money frivolously. There's some things you just don't spend on. There's some things that's just not of value. You can own these games. Fight for your right to own, not rent. That's all I'm saying. So, while PlayStation was not in attendance, playing the part of PlayStation was none other than Square Enix. Probably absolutely the biggest presentation there. One of the two biggest presentations there. And I think they actually dethroned Xbox on their presentation. And as far as crowd reaction, excitement, where others felt like they had like staff cheering for them when the crowd was dead, this was definitely more fan than crowd reaction at the announcements that they were here. And Square Enix has a insanely big fan base for the titles, especially when it comes to Final Fantasy. None bigger than Final Fantasy VII Remake, which we all been waiting for God knows how long. Remember, we got the release date. Finally, we have a release date, March the 3rd, 2020. We can't wait. But with even more, we got to see gameplay footage. There was a huge gameplay demo at the event. Crowd went nuts. Absolutely. I mean, you felt like it was almost like like Prince or Michael Jackson or the Jonas Brothers or somebody just came and and the crowd just went crazy. Like it was, you thought it was a rock star on stage, the way that they were screaming for this. It was awesome. I mean, it really felt like it was like I don't think we got a reaction because Nintendo did their showcase. I don't think we got a bigger reaction as far as a presentation was on stage than this. So they showed the gameplay here with the footage of Cloud and Barrett fighting, but the biggest reaction is when Tifa came on, and I mean, you heard girls screaming, you heard crowd roaring to see the fight style of Tifa in there and how you're going to be able to use her. And the cool part is, what I really liked about this, what I believe is going to happen when you do this, is that you're going to be able to switch players during the action, during the action, scenes in the game. Kind of similar to Marvel Ultimate Alliance, which I really enjoy. I think that's a cool idea because everybody wants to play as these characters. So I like the concept that they're doing with this. And Tifa looked awesome. Cloud looked awesome. Barret looked awesome. All the characters. I mean, the fact that they said that they were really, the idea of making this game was to make it look exactly like they did from the beloved movie Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. And trust me, after I watched this, I am definitely going to watch that movie again. It's been a long time since I watched it. And, oh man, just this fact, because when that movie came out, people looked at that movie and like, this is the Final Fantasy that I want to play. People were aching for that experience. And lo and behold, this kind of reminds me of how James Cameron wanted to do Battle Angel Alita. But they couldn't do it now. They couldn't do it justice now because they didn't have the technology to do it. And now they do. And we're getting it. We're getting the Final Fantasy VII that we wanted. In fact, I'm getting the Final Fantasy VII I wanted because they will have action-based gameplay and not turn-based. Now, granted, there were people online, especially in the A.C.M.G Facebook group, who were kind of crying about the fact that it's action-based. And if you guys play Final Fantasy 15, which I'm actually finally finishing the Pocket version. Now, I've already played the PlayStation version, which, again, is one of my favorite games of all time. And that says a lot. Mostly because it was action-based and because the story was really good. And I understand, now after playing it all this time and playing the Pocket version and watched the movie Kingsglaive, I understand why it took over 10 years for it to do, because they were working on a movie, they were working on this Pocket version, so I can understand why it took so long to do it, man. It's an amazing amount of detail and attention to and dedication that went into this. So, again, I mean, the crowd this is the biggest pop, probably of the weekend, and only rivaling Cyberpunk 2077. Those are the two biggest pops that we got this for a live presentation. Again, I can't speak for Nintendo, but I know there are a lot of people talking online about what Nintendo did, and we'll talk about that shortly. But clearly, this was the biggest thing, and it was awesome. I cannot wait till this game come out to relive all of the moments that we got from the original PS1 version, the Paleolithic version in comparison to this modern version. It's going to be so much more. They also announced that there will be a 2-part saga. So it will be chapters, but it only splits out into 2 Blu-ray discs. So you're going to get 2 Blu-ray disc size games. So people are now questioning all right, where is the saga going to end? And I could guarantee you, I'm putting money that the first part of the game will end when Aerith dies. That's my prediction. I think they're going to end it off right there, and then they're just going to put it in the other half of it right there. So I am looking forward to this. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be epic as hell. I'm going to say this now. After watching all of E3, my prediction for 2020 is Final Fantasy VII Remake may be the game of the year. I think it probably may be the game of the year, but it also may be probably the most games sold. That is my prediction. Because people have been waiting forever for this, and then this is one of those things where the anticipation for hardcore fans is so big that it transcends the casual fans, and casual fans are going to want to see what's the big deal about this game, and it's going to generate a lot of cash. And not only that, there's said to be actors from, I believe, The Flash and Supergirl that will be in there. In fact, Cloud is voiced by the guy who plays Superman and Supergirl. So that alone is enticing. I can't wait. I've waited for a long time. I hate turn-based games, and probably it generates back to Final Fantasy VII. But I love the story of Final Fantasy VII so much that I can't get rid of it. I've never beaten Final Fantasy VII because of the Black Materia situation, and I think it traumatized me. I've never got a chance to beat that game because of the fact that way back, I winded up getting if you're Final Fantasy 7 fans, you recognize this. The Black Materia, the search for the Black Materia, and there was a moment where you got in the train and you had to get the Black Materia from the train. I somehow messed up. I messed up by not getting it and then not saving the files properly. So I couldn't go back to that part because I didn't save. I didn't think to save as to where I needed to be at that point. I needed to like, if I messed up, I need to go back to that save point so I can do it again. And I didn't. And now, in order for me to do it, I would have to play through the whole entire game all over again. And I was like, screw that. I spent so many hours on this game, I'm out. And I was pissed because I really wanted to beat that game. And I was in the course of beating the game. Granted, I do have the game on mobile and all that stuff, and I can play it again, and they make it easier for you now, but I still have not gotten to that point. I'm going to wait till Final Fantasy VII. That way, not only I can play the game, but I can beat it in the way I wanted to beat it, and be able to play it with the action-based controls schemes. And again, I do believe that they will have the option for both. Like I said, with Final Fantasy 15, I don't think I mentioned it, but Final Fantasy 15 gave you the option to play both action and turn-based controls. So don't think that they're gonna they're not catering to everybody. I think they're gonna allow you to be able to play both, and that's what you were able to do on Final Fantasy 15. So don't worry, it's coming. So other games that they mentioned was Final Fantasy 4. This is going to be a big Final Fantasy list of games, I'm telling you now. Final Fantasy 14 Online, which comes out July 2nd, looks great. Dragon Quest 2 Builders 2, which I believe is coming out very soon for all systems. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition coming this winter to the PlayStation 4. Believe the Switch is going to get that as well. Oh, yeah, there it is on my notes. Switch, iOS, and Google Play. There's going to be an all-over systems. I need to get that because I heard there was a character also named Dax on there as well. Kingdom Hearts 3. I thought I was done with this game. I'm so whelmed with this game. Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind, which is a new DLC coming soon. And it looks like the game is going to be taking shades of Dissidia. You know, there's a lot of Dissidia, looking type of gameplay in here. So I am kind of intrigued by this. Not entirely. I'm just done with it. I was so underwhelmed with this game after all these years of waiting too. So there's that. Uninaki, which is an action role-playing game coming August 22nd. The Last Remnant Remastered, available now on the Nintendo Switch. If you haven't gone to the eShop, go in there. It's there. It's ready. Yeah, remastered and everything. Go out of your way to check it out. Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, if I'm pronouncing that right. War of the Visions, coming to mobile games coming soon. Outriders, coming summer 2020. No real knowledge as to what genre of game this is based on. Of the trailer, it's just, like the other game from Ubisoft. Is just a CGI trailer from there. We also have from there we got Romancing Saga 3 and Saga Scarlet Grace Ambitions, which is available now. And then we get to the main event of this, the lore of this event, if you will. Aside from Final Fantasy VII. This was the much anticipated lore for this event, and that was Marvel Avengers. Square Enix teams up with the Crystal Dynamics and the people responsible for Tomb Raider, the very popular Tomb Raider game. They're working together to come up with Marvel's Avengers. With surprise, this game, the first view of this game, a lot of mixed reviews coming in this game. A lot of mixed reviews. Mostly because of the look of the character models. The game is... Here's the thing. I'm going to say this now because I'm going to be talking about the negatives, but I also need to talk about what I thought was positive as well about this game. The game graphically looks great. The character models don't look bad in the sense that they don't look like real people or they don't look like human. They look bad to a lot of people, especially I've read a lot online, a lot of things online, and there's some things that I'm going to clear up. Yeah, I think that people don't understand. They do look real. They look awesome, real people. They just don't look like the Avengers or the description of what the characters of the Avengers would look like. They look very off. I'm not the only one that says this. If you go online, there's a lot of people that's talking about the visuals of that. IGN, I was watching that mostly in GameSpot. I was well too. They were talking about the visuals. When people were interviewing them, they were being very nice about talking about the visuals of this. And when I say the visuals, I mean the character models of the Avengers, in particular, Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. Thor to some extent. Well, let's just say all of them except for maybe Bruce Banner. I think Bruce Banner and the Hulk was the only one that was okay. His hair was a little bit frizzy, but I think this is the early versions of this game, so you got to take into consideration of that. The Hulk was the only, character that looked really good in this game. Everybody that looked like the Hulk. Everybody else just looked like, they just looked very off. They didn't look like the characteristics of what we are known to love throughout years, whether it's in animation, whether it's the movie, whether it's the comics. It just didn't look, it just looked like normal people in costume. It didn't look anywhere near like the Avengers based on Marvel's, characteristics that we're used to. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand, because there are those who felt like because they are, the nature of the game is mimicking shades of the MCU, that they should look more closer to the actors. I don't agree with that at all. If it would be cool to have them as the actors, like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and Scarlett Johansson and all that stuff. Yes, great, and Chris Hemsworth and all the other guys. That would have been great. But you know how much money they would charge to get the likeness in there? That ain't happening. What they could do, in a sense, though, much like Sony did with Spider-Man and Insomniac did with Spider-Man, is make something that we can. I don't agree that everybody's using the excuse, the cop-out excuse that everybody wants them to look like the actors. No, I don't agree with that at all. Because if that was the case, the Insomniac Spider-Man would have looked like, there would have been many complaints about them not looking like Tom Holland. But there weren't. People love, and in fact, every interview that they had in this game were asking the question, were they going to include Spider-Man in this? And that's kind of shady in a sense, unintentionally shady in a sense, because we love the Spider-Man game that much, and we're comparing it to the Spider-Man game, especially only because they made it look visually like it can blend in with the Spider-Man universe. So I think I think the decision to make it look as photorealistic as the Spider-Man game and not make these characters genuinely look like, okay, that looked like that could be Steve Rogers, that looked like that could be Tony Stark, that looked like that could be Black Widow. Even Hank Pym looks like Joss Whedon. It's like, Joss Whedon don't look like a guy that looks like he's going to be fighting crime or using power. No. No. Okay, it really does look like Joss Whedon. I never thought about that until absolutely right now. But these guys look like normal. These look like folks that live in a gated community and going to a Halloween party. That's what they look like. And it's not to say that the photorealism of the characters look great. It comes down to that, do they carry the familiar features and characteristics of what we know Steve Rogers or Captain America or a Iron Man is. Even Iron Man faceplate doesn't look right to me. It looks really cheesy. I mean, if you compare that to the movie version, if you compare that to the comic book illustrations, if you compare that, hell, to Marvel Ultimate Alliance, it really doesn't. It really doesn't do it. And I get what they were trying to do. This is still early in development. They have ways to remodel and change a little bit of the features and whatnot. They have time. If you guys remember when who was it? NetherRealm, Injustice 2, when people were talking about how Wonder Woman didn't look too good because of the lighting and whatnot and some of the features, they fixed that and it looked so much better when they did it that way too. Sonic the Hedgehog, look at what's about to happen with there. I mean, you gotta think, like, we pay you the money for this and we want to see things. People are talking about people complaining a lot, but no, nobody complained when Marvel Ultimate Alliance came out. People were like going nuts for that game when it was announced at the Game Awards. When Spider-Man was premiered at E3 the first time, rockstar reaction from the crowd. Second year they showed it, and then they showed Miles Morales. Everybody went crazy because Miles was going to be in it. Nobody complained. Everybody thought that it was awesome. So no, it's not that. Nobody had no complaints about. I mean, you're going to have your low minority percentage of people, but it's only minority. The overall consensus of this whole thing is that people are a little bit thrown off. It's not to say that they're not going to get the game, that they're not going to invest in the game. I just think that the first impressions mean a lot. And when you saw that, it was like, I like what they're looking to do, but right now it just looks very off-putting. And it's not grabbing me into the belief that these guys are who they say they are. So that to me right now, and again, this could be the early versions of it. And they never said it was. That's the even worse part. They could have said this is like an early version of it. We're going to improve, but they're sticking to their guns. They claimed that, the other thing too, I thought that was funny that they said that they will pay no expense to get the talent that they need to play the roles. And I'm thinking, like, you really shouldn't say that. That's not a good thing to say, because the first thing somebody's going to counter that with is like, okay, you pay no expense. Where's Robert Downey Jr.? Where's Chris Evans? Where's Chris Helmsworth? Where's Don Cheadle? Don't say that. What they did, and that was in reference to the fact that they got, of course, Troy Baker, Nolan North, and a horde of other different, great, the top talent of actors who work in video games and animation to do these voices. And they are indeed the top talent. What they're not, however, no offense, pay no expense. You're not going to replace a Troy Baker with a Robert Downey Jr. As phenomenal as Troy Baker is, you want, and Nolan North is, you want the Avengers in here. So I think that was just a bad choice of words in their part right there. But they did pay for the best of the best in as far as acting and in particular voice acting in here. And they're right. They did pay for the best of the best in that sense. But don't say you paid no expense. It's just wrong. Fans attending got to see, not play, but see the gameplay footage at the booths. With some of the fans who attended, especially the ones that the official Marvel Studios or the Marvel Avengers Twitter page retweeted, said that they liked it in there. Now, that's the ones that they retweeted. That's not the ones that they didn't retweet, because I'm pretty sure there's probably ones that had some skepticism as well. I also watched the segment and read an article on IGN. What they got a chance to see it, they said it looks okay. But they're still a little skeptical about certain gameplays as far as that. Thor in particular was a little bit of skeptic, and the other ones were look like, I think the Hulk one is the one that they said that looked a little bit more fun. But again, these are early showings, and we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Either way, I can tell you this. Although I got reserves about the character models, and just the character models. I mean, don't take away the fact that this is a beautiful looking game. It's only focusing on the character models of the game and the costume designs too, because some of the costume designs, Iron Man and Cap looks very suspect, and especially Cap, because he looks like he's wearing shoulder pads and hockey gear, and some of the memes and stuff that's online is hilarious. It's really funny. But we did a poll on the A.C.M.G Facebook group. And at the time, the poll I asked was, most of the gaming community is really shitting on the first look of Square Enix's Marvel's Avengers. What was your first impression? And the answer to that was, F, this looks awesome, or what the F is this crap? So at the time, it was 70% of this looks awesome to the 29% of this is crap. That has changed since then, and I am going to look right now to see what the new look of this, or what is the new results of this. So bear with me for 1 sec. I will look at this. And where is that at? Oh, by the way, before I even find it, there was a meme from Roy Woods Jr., who just recently at the Howie Mandel show did a really funny joke about Street Fighter. You could tell he's a gamer for life. I love this dude. Go follow Roy Woods Jr. He's a great comedian. He's been in the game for quite a long time, but he wrote a meme with the picture of the Avengers that everybody's, showing with Steve Rogers looking not like Steve Rogers and all the rest of them. It's hilarious. He's like, Marvel, we want to use the likeness of the new Avengers game. Avengers cast. Cool. We'll each need $576,275,522.48. Marvel. Cool. Let me hit y'all back. And then he shows the picture of the from the trailer right there. That's a little bit of what we were talking about. Okay, here we go. So, since the last time we spoke, it is now 69%. This looks awesome to 31%. This is crap. So still overwhelmingly, at least for the A.C.M.G group, just for the A.C.M.G group alone, because we're a niche group, it is mostly people are more positive than negative to it. I am still, regardless of the look of the character models, I am still more positive than negative. There's a long way to go. They can improve on the trailer. They can improve on the look. We did see some type of gameplay footage in the trailer, much to people's understanding of not seeing footage. It was discovered that there is gameplay footage shown in the trailer in certain scenes. Black Widow has believed to have a QTE type of scene. I think Thor has has been said to have a God of War type of gameplay. A recent God of War gameplay, not the old one where you're walking around or anything. It's like recent behind your back pan camera, rear camera view, if you will. And I think Tony is a little bit of flight. And I think Steve is a bit of melee, from what I understand. So we'll see. But I know, unfortunately, they didn't get the reaction. And if you look at the E3 conference, if you watch the E3 conference for Square Enix, the biggest Rockstar reaction was definitely Final Fantasy VII. The most underwhelming reaction was Marvel Avengers. It didn't leave people with a taste. And you could hear the crowd. The crowd was supportive, but not overwhelmingly excited. You could tell from a supportive crowd, and it was like a lot of people was kind of had the reserves. You could just see it in that presentation right there. With that said, the Square Enix conference, I think, was more successful than it was failure. I think I would give them, in my opinion, maybe a B plus A minus in a sense, because that Final Fantasy, that gameplay footage was unbelievable. And we got to see Sephiroth, which also got a monster reaction as well. So, I mean, from start to finish, this conference had a really good, great announcements. It was a really great presentation. The crowd was hot from start to finish. Well, hot all the way up until the Marvel Avengers showing, and it was like it just kind of, diluted a little bit from that point. So there you have it from there. I would say, if anything, I give it a B plus A minus for that display. So all there's left was, in fact, Nintendo. How are they going to come back from this? And they usually do their showcase on there. Hosted, I forgot what the Japanese host was, but Doug Bowser, who is the new he's the one taking over for Reggie Fils-Aimé's position of the company. I think Nintendo lucked out huge. You found a really enthusiastic gentleman that just so happens to have the name Bowser in the back. And I love this. At one point in the introduction of the showcase, Bowser comes out to talk about everything that's happening. He has a tie, looking very professional, if you will. And then Doug Bowser comes out and says, "No, not you. They're asking for me." And they redirect him out of the screen. It was really cute. So here we go. Nintendo usually has some extremely exciting things on a showcase direct presentation, and they didn't disappoint. Again, they did not disappoint. Here we go. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate reveal. We was wondering if they were going to reveal more. They did. They looked out. They revealed this time, announcing for this time, Dragon Quest Heroes. Not just one from the recent Dragon Quest game that's coming out, but all of the Dragon Quest Heroes is that one, and then there's a bunch of Echo characters as well that are going to be in the game. This is absolutely fantastic. I love this idea, mostly because we get a bit of Akira Toriyama in this game. Now, do you guys remember one of the picks that I've always wanted? And I was like, if they're going to get Joker from Persona, let's go out of the box. Let's get Goku in here. I dare them. We didn't get Goku, but we didn't get the main Akira Toriyama character. We got another. So as long as we got Akira Toriyama's artwork in the game, I'm all for this. I am all for this. I am good with this. It's a great choice. I really appreciate it. Janet Garcia, shout out to her on IGN. I praised her on Twitter because she, for the first time in a long time, if not ever, we got a person of color on the IGN panel. And to me, it's always bugged me. I love IGN. I always give them credit. They have grown incredibly over the years. They have become an empire for the gaming entertainment industry and the fan base industry. And the one thing that always bothered me, as very well charismatic and professional these guys are and how much they have fun, I never see a person of color, whether it's a male or female. I rarely see. I think I've only seen it one time. One time. They had Janet Garcia there, and it just took a load off me, and I hope that they have her again. I actually reached out to her on Twitter and said, it was great to see her on air, an intelligent woman of color on air, talking about the things that I love, because we don't see enough of it. We do not see enough of it, and it's awesome. But she, to her credit, she made a great point on there, and she said that as much as she is happy that that Dragon Quest is in there, she's really disappointed at the fact that we're seeing another character with a shorter shield. And that is a great point. And when she said that, I actually thought about that, and I'm like, you know what? There is a lot of characters. You got the Fire Emblem characters. You got Zelda. You got a few others in there that has swords and shield in there. So it does make a lot of sense. They didn't go for anything a little bit different. There's still more to come. There's absolutely still more to come. It's not the only character that they announced, and we'll talk about that very soon. I'm running down the lines as they announced it on here as well. So after revealing Dragon Quest is going to be represented and honored in Super Smash Brothers, they also announced that Dragon Quest 11 Echoes of Elusive Age Definitive Edition S will be coming soon as well. I believe in 2020. Luigi's Mansion also 3 is also mentioned, which is coming out in 2020. The Dark Crystal. I thought when they premiered this, I thought they were advertising that the Dark Crystal was coming to Netflix. Like there was an actual commercial for the first time ever. I'm like, oh my god, they're doing commercials now? No, they're advertising that the Dark Crystal is getting a video game, a real-time strategy game called Age of Resistance Tactics. A lot similar to what is that? To Final Fantasy Tactics. So it's going to play on that type of deal. So that's coming out very soon. Then one of the biggest anticipated attractions of this, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening was talked about on here too. I believe that is coming very soon. I think it's coming out in 2020 as well. Trials of Mana, a 3D RPG remake of the 1995 game in Japan, coming in 2020. This is a game series that many wanted to play, but it was only in Japan. It is now coming out in America. Not only that, the Trials of Mana collection, also games that were not in Japan, is out right now on the eShop in Nintendo for the Nintendo Switch. Go out of your way to go get it. It's a very popular, much sought out after game. I believe it's also action RPG, so that's also great too. Very Zelda-esque. Fire Emblem, Three Houses, coming July 26th. Let me tell you, this game keeps looking better and better. I don't know why I'm so engulfed in certain genres. I'm like, if you tell me what games that I like playing, fighting games all day, every day. However, there are some other games, and also action platformers and some side scrollers as well. But fighting games are at the top. But RTS games are some games that I just don't understand why I like them. But a part of the reason for that with Fire Emblem is that it's going to be basically that it's going to be 3 houses, and the artwork is always going to be better. They improve so much on the artwork every single time. I absolutely love it. So it's coming to July 26th, and I believe it's going to be like 2 versions or something like that as well. So Resident Evil 5 and 6 is coming also. I believe they're already out in Japan, if I'm correct. All of the Resident Evils are in Japan. The Witcher 3, this is a huge one. The Witcher 3 is coming to the Nintendo Switch. Now, much like Mortal Kombat 11, it's going to be downgraded just a bit, but all of the content is going to be in there. And this is the complete edition, so I guarantee this means that all the DLC and everything is going to be coming with it. This is, again, showing the power of the Nintendo Switch to have something that big in here. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Then, remember we were talking about, like, where's Konami? Where have they been? We haven't seen them in quite a while. They're back. They're back. And they're coming back with Contra, believe it or not. Now, remember, I talked about Contra, the Contra Collector's Edition is coming, or is already out, I believe. I got to check. But this new version of Contra called Contra Rogue Corps, it's not like you're saying the same, 2D Contra game. This is, in fact, a top-down, 3D, stage type of, environment, kind of similar to Diablo and, what is that? And Marvel Ultimate Alliance, so to speak. And I gotta be honest, it looks a mess. It looks like a hot mess. Really muddy looking colors, and, it just looks, I don't know if this is unfinished. But also, it's like there's only one character from the Contra series that's going to be on there, along with other characters, including a panda. So now it's now a goofy version of Contra. I don't think this is going to be successful at all. This is what happens when a company takes their biggest asset and doesn't treat them right. So now Hideo Kojima is out with Nintendo and Hideo Kojima Productions doing Death Stranding. These guys are doing freaking Contra. And it looks really shitty. It looks insanely shitty from there. So you have that situation going on. So that's coming out soon, and I don't think I'm going to be investing in that. Diamond X Machina coming September 13th. I got a chance to play the demo for that. That's actually pretty good. I do hope that they improved on the customizations of that, because I did not like some of the choices of customizations that they had for the game. Everything else was fine. The controls was okay, but I'm a little skeptical about the customizations for that. So I don't know if I'm going to invest in that in particular. Pokemon Sword and Shield, we already talked about that last week. It's coming November 15th. They did announce the ability to use your Pokeball controller as a way to take a Pokemon from the game on the road with you and almost nurse it. I don't know if it's going to have any abilities to raise the level of it while you're in there or not. I'm not sure. They also revealed a new trainer called Nisa, who is a beautiful female of color who will no doubt be a cosplay favorite at cons. Between her and Tifa. Tifa has always been a cosplay favorite in comic book conventions, but I guarantee that's gonna be a major comeback on that. And then also Nisa is also going to be a cosplay choice as well. Guarantee it. They also announced Empire of Sin by Romeo Games coming spring 2020. Cadence of Hyrule, which is out today. In fact, it's going to be released right at noon Eastern Standard Time on the eShop. Then, my favorite, the game that I officially have pre-ordered, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, coming July 19th. We're counting down the days, people. It is not coming soon enough. But remember I had said that it wasn't for pre-order? It is now up for pre-order. It's available now. Go for it. But not only that, they also had this really cool trailer which showed many more different, characters and villains that you're going to be facing. Added to that, they also announced a season pack, which includes Marvel Knights, X-Men, and the return of the Fantastic Four in video game form. Go out of your way to get this right now. This is guaranteed. I've seen a lot of gameplay footage on over E3. If you're in the A.C.M.G group, as this is already up right now, I've already posted the Nintendo Treehouse E3 gameplay footage of Marvel Ultimate Alliance to see how this looks. If you played the first 2 Ultimate Alliance games from Activision from back in the day, which I'm revisiting now leading up to the premiere of this game, I'm going to be replaying. I just realized Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, I played through the first game when they brought it back for PlayStation, but I haven't played through the second play where you can go and play the other decisions. So I'm going to revisit that again leading up to the premiere of this game. I am so looking forward to this. This was a game. Now, and a lot of people are saying, like, you know, you look at Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. No, it doesn't look like the video game characters. It looks more like the comic book. People were so excited when this came out. When this premiered in the Game Awards, I remember because we were watching it on A.C.M.G. and watching it on TV. When the Game Awards came out and they premiered it, people went insane. And it really got pissed when they found out it was exclusive for the actual Nintendo Switch. But also it said people were saying, now I need to buy a Nintendo Switch. Now I want to play this game. It's on. And again, this does not look like the movies. This looks like the comic book, which I believe people wanted in the first place. I think people say that of course, because of the photorealism, they want to see it look really like the deal. But I think they would prefer that it look closer to what you would believe the comic books would want. And you got to take note on one thing. Last thing I'm going to say about Marvel's Avengers real quick. Yeah, you wanted as the characters, but you know what happened? You wanted like the actors, but you know what happened? When the actors actually were hired. When Robert Downey Jr. was hired, when Chris Evans was hired, when Chris Hemsworth was hired, all of them. The reason why they were hired is because they had to look as close to the characters of the comic book. They had to look believable to the comics as possible. Before, they were just them. They owned the character, but they still look like the comics. So Chris Evans would not have gotten that role if he didn't even look close to what Captain America can look like or believable. Because when we look at movies, when they come out on trailers, the first thing we look at is like, does he look like he could be a Steve Rogers? Does he look like he could be not a Robert Downey Jr.? Does he look like he could be a Tony Stark? Yes, when Robert Downey Jr. had that damn beard, we was like, yo, he looks like Tony Stark. Chris Evans, yeah, he looks like he could pull it off. Chris Hemsworth, yeah, he looks like a Thor. You know, it's so forth and so on. You know, it just looks like the part. Hell, even Chris Pratt, I'm like, yeah, he could pull off a Star-Lord. You got to look like the part before it's the actor. So it bounces back to the whole entire thing. Okay, so I mean, I don't want to hear that. But again, when you watch Spider-Man, nobody complained about Spider-Man. When you looked at this, everybody was excited about this. So there's my argument to that. Combat that. So again, this is all coming out July 19th, and all of that is available right now for pre-order on the eShop. We also got the return of Mario and Sonic Olympics. They're getting ready for Tokyo 2020. I'm actually excited for that because the theme is going to be anime. So I'm looking forward to that. But there are more games that are going to be including in this one: boxing, skateboarding, taekwondo, karate, and much more. I'm actually excited about this game. I actually like the first one. I hope they do more. I hope they give it more of a story mode feel for this one and better narrative than the last one. But this looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of great mini games for that. Animal Crossing. This was the heartbreak for many fans out there. Animal Crossing New Horizon was set to come out, I think this year maybe. Unfortunately, they announced that the game has been pushed back to March 20th, 2020. To a lot of people's heartbreak, because there are some people who are religiously into this game. And this was the only really downfall. My take on this is that with everything that they announced in this presentation, that is a down, but at least they still have a direct release date for it. At least they have that again. And this is a rarity for Nintendo to do, so I don't mind it. And everything else is a most likely definite to have already come out or is in the cuffs of coming out as well. So I am looking forward to it. I'm sure people are going to enjoy it when it comes out, and they won't be dissatisfied. Other games that were mentioned: Dead by Daylight, coming September 21st. Stranger Things coming out July 4th, which is the same day that this new season is coming out. Spyro Reignited Trilogy, September 3rd. Just Dance 2020 coming November 5th. New Super Lucky's Tale Fall 2019. Minecraft Dungeons, like I said, is coming out on all systems, spring 2020. Ni no Kuni Remake, Wrath of the White Witch, coming September 20th. This is awesome because I didn't think that Nintendo Switch had the capacity to come out with a beautiful game like this on their system, so that's awesome. Canton, June 20th. The Sinking City, Fall 2019. Alien Isolation 2019. Hollow Knight's Silk Song, soon. That's all it said. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition, like I said, is coming in winter 2018. Dauntless, fall, winter 2018. Wolfenstein Youngblood is coming July 26th. Doom Eternal coming soon. Elder Scrolls Blade 2019. With all that said, Nintendo always leaves us with something to really scream and holler at. And while we were thinking Metroid Prime 4 was going to be it, nah. That's coming. That's definitely doomed. I think they're going to announce that in the fall. I got a feeling that's going to be announced during the Game Awards. I think that's my prediction for that. But we never expected this. You know, when they snap their fingers, something really cool is happening. So they show this trailer with an art style that looks very familiar of one of the greatest games of all time for Nintendo that just came out only like 2 years. The game that sucked me in so much that I was religiously into this. I never thought I would do this. It started out many debates and battles and arguments about what was the better game, this or Horizon Zero Dawn. And in fact, it is. We see Zelda. We see Link. Not any versions of Zelda and Link, the Breath of the Wild version. And in fact, ladies and gentlemen, it has been announced that the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel is in development. I know people's head exploded in unison when that was announced. Are you kidding me? A brand new Breath. First of all, Legend of Zelda is not known. It's only rarely that they do sequels for their games. And this was the first time this is like, I think, the second time that they've done this, maybe. This is huge. They're doing a sequel to Breath of the Wild. And it looks very interesting. It looks like they're dungeon dwelling or whatever like that. We don't know what they're doing. It just looks beautiful. It's coming. It's in development. I think there are going to be more announcements down the line. The Game Awards is like the second best big thing that they're announcing, that they do big announcements for, which is usually like in October, November, or something like that. So it's amazing. It was just amazing. I can't believe we're getting another sequel. I can't believe they're sucking us back in. This is utterly insane. Why, Nintendo? I'm sorry. That was a mic drop moment if I've ever seen it. You know, it just is. It just really is. So, now we go to the reactions. What was the best in show? Honestly, I think it's really on the edge with Nintendo just barely edging it. Square Enix, to me, was the second, but barely in the second. And to me, Xbox, unfortunately, did not make the cut. They got beat by a company that is not a console, and you got beat by Nintendo again. That's my opinion. Not only just my opinion, I also did another poll. E3 overall thoughts. What was the best in show presentation of E3? Coming from the voters of the A.C.M.G Facebook group, overwhelmingly, Nintendo Showcase was also a lot of people's choice as well. Seconded by Square Enix. Third by Xbox. Fourth by Ubisoft, Bethesda, and nobody voted for PC games, Google Stadia, Developer Digital, or EA Play. It was just all about Nintendo, Square, and Xbox, and then some a little bit for Ubisoft from there. So that was it. Overall, this E3, I think that overall the E3 gets a solid B. It was great, even though they didn't have Sony in there. I thought they did a pretty good job. There were some exciting things. We left with some things to talk about, some things that are leaving us hanging. This Avengers thing is going to be talked about for quite some time until we see another trailer and gameplay or get a demo or something like that. So that's pretty much what it is from there. So I enjoyed it. I am looking forward to a lot of things coming soon. So there you have it there. Folks, that will do it for this edition of Select Start. Thank you so very much for this always long talked about episode. It took me, just to let you know, it took me 4 hours to write this show, to write the notes for the show, and then also all the things that came along with it. This is usually the longest show of the year for Select Start. So thank you all. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Keep supporting us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, if I think I mentioned that, TalkTimeLive.com, of course. Check that out and much, much more. This week, Jessica, I was thinking about going to check out Men in Black International. or Shaft, but I heard really bad reviews from both of them, so I don't know if I'm going to do that. But what I will check out this week is Jessica Jones, the final Netflix series for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I'm going to check that out, see how this thing ends, see if there's anything exciting about it, and we'll talk about that more on Saturday, along with some other big news, including the return of the Boondocks. Yeah, we got to talk about that. We want to talk about that much soon, so stick with us there and keep us growing, keep us going. I'm going to keep going as always. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of myself, this is Xavier Josiah saying learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live. I am out of here. Take care and have a great week. I'll talk to you Sunday. Music for this episode is provided by Game Chops. Check out these great chiptune tracks and more at music.gamechops.com.